Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, April 28th of 2024. It is a beautiful rainy day here in Utah. We've actually had a rainy weekend. I went on a beautiful hike through a place here in Salt Lake City called Memory Grove with one of my nieces yesterday, and we definitely dressed for the rain, but we got rained on a lot, and it was just invigorating and amazing. We had an incredible conversation. This is the niece of one of my oldest sister, and she lives about 4 hours from me. It was an impromptu visit, and she just said, "Hey, can I come over? Can I come up and stay overnight with you and go hiking? And I need some auntie time." And I think that when we make the time to reach out to those we love and make a physical connection with them if we're able to, um, it makes life so much richer. So after she came on Friday, we hiked yesterday, and then we had some amazing food together. And she stocked up on a few herbal remedies before she left, and then she left yesterday afternoon. And Dolly, if you're watching this, I know sometimes you do. Thank you so much for coming up. It was just filled up my cup, filled up my auntie cup. So I hope for you in your life that you have people that mean enough to you to be able to carve out time for them and be physically present with them. And one of the things I love about most of the members in my family is that they know how to disconnect from their technology when they're spending time with people that they love, even just on a basis of having a meal together with your family. It's one of those things that's a true gift, because you're getting the gift of attention and listening and true communication on a heart-to-heart level. In fact, that's one of the things that I think is becoming so valuable is the currency of people's attention, and when it's undivided, without their technology, their cell phones giving them notifications, they're always looking at it. If this is you, and I talk about this all the time, but if this is you and you're a person who's just connected to your technology on such a high level that you let it disrupt your deep connections with the people you love, really make a point of disconnecting from that. And it never feels wrong to share that message, because it is truly one of the reasons that we're here, is to connect with others and connect with each other. So I had some really good journaling this week, and what actually came out at the forefront for me this week was the idea of coming out of the darkness. It feels like we've reached a turning point as a collective where, and it still might seem dark, but I want to give you a different perspective this week, because I think if we focus on all the things that are still really wrong or really broken, or the culture, how like it just seems like there's a piece of ideology that's been swirling around the planet that's so out of harmony with nature and the way we're supposed to be as humans. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but it seems like we've crested over that, where we've reached a peak of that, and now we're on the side where it feels like we're coming out of the darkness. So this is just kind of a theme that dropped into me at the very first of the week. So as I sat with my journal this week, I expanded on it. And this is, again, where you sit with an open journal, quiet your higher self. Like, you can call it meditation, you can call it whatever you want, but when you get these downloads of inspiration from, your higher self, our creator, from God, and you have something to actually write these thoughts down in, you can go back and visit this, and it makes a huge difference in the way you can walk through life. And the gift that I have is that not only do I get to revisit it, but I get to share it. And sometimes different things come out just in the context of me sharing. So what I feel like this has done, this whole time, this really challenging time for all of us as a collective, this has helped us get in touch with our true selves. Whenever that moment of awakening, whether it's a spontaneous awakening or whether it's a long, gradual awakening, there we really get to know who we truly are, and we get to go to the deepest parts of ourselves that maybe are kind of dark and petty and not the most kind and not the most loving, and we get to tap in, look at those, and release them. So what I feel like is happening is that we're activating a new timeline. And I've been feeling like this for a long time. So the entire collective, the whole planet is evolving at this time, and we're evolving together. Now, we all might not be evolving on exactly the same level, the same speed, but you're either going. I feel like you're either going one way or you're going another. And at the end of the day, no matter what happens that seems so dark, truth and light always wins. It always does, because truth is so much more powerful, and it always wins. So we need to open up to the new energies and the new ideas, because when these moments through history, and I don't believe there's ever been anything quite like what we've been going through and what we've been experiencing. And I could be wrong. I'm pretty much open to other ideas and other realities and other civilizations, and I'm open to any of those things. But I do believe in the modern world, and as far as history that we have tracked up so far. And again, I speak of this as my own opinion from not a ton of expertise about ancient civilizations, even though I do find the subject super fascinating. But I believe that this is how we evolve, and we have to be open to these new energies and the new ideas. In fact, when I was hiking with my niece yesterday, she shared with me this story, this book that she has started writing, and it's based on her experience, and it's based on her experience with, it's a concept called TMS, which is the mind-body syndrome, where our body creates physical pain based on emotional pain. And many of you have seen the interviews that I've shared with the author of The Great Pain Deception. And his name is Stephen Ozanich. I first interviewed him about 10 years ago. And there are 6 interviews that live on this YouTube channel with him. Over the years, I've interviewed him 6 times. He's become an extremely dear friend. And so as my niece was sharing this, she has a personal story and experience with that. She said she felt inspired to write a story. And as we were walking, she told me, well, when we get back to the car, if you'd like, I'll read it to you. I'll read what I've written so far. So we got back to the car, and she read, and it's so beautifully written, and you can tell that she speaks from her own personal experience, and she just felt inspired to start writing this down. And she's literally just writing it on her phone. And she was a little bit, she wasn't really embarrassed about it, but it was like, I don't really know where this is going to go, and I don't know if it's going to really do anything. And she's the mother of a young child, so she's got a busy life, as any mother knows, with young children. And she just, after she read it to me, I was literally riveted just from the small amount that she had written. And I said, oh my goodness, this is an important story. And it's so well written. And as we were talking, I said that you've been given this inspiration and this idea to write down this story. And if you don't act on the inspiration and it just kind of sits stagnant for a while, it's going to be given to someone else. Now they're going to put their own story with it, because she's writing from a place of personal experience, even though it is fiction, is coming from personal experience of what happened with her. And as we were talking, it was kind of like, this is a new idea, this is a new energy. And she realized the truth in the fact that when we are given these moments of inspiration for a new creation or something that needs to be born into the world with an invention or a book or art or anything, it could be anything. If you don't act on it, then those ideas that need to come into the world to improve humanity, improve the collective, all of the things that this thing needs to be born to do will be given to someone else. I mean, I've talked to people over the years that will see a little invention that'll come out, and they'll be like, I thought about that a couple of years ago, how handy it would be to have this little gadget that did this. And then someone else so you didn't act on it. You were given it and you didn't act on it. So I think that is a really, really important thing to remember as a human on this planet, that we are gifted with these inspirations and these ideas. So I think what's really happened these last few years is it's been a true metamorphosis for all of us. It's almost like when I talked about a couple weeks ago about shedding old skin and a rebirth, a transformation. When we come out of dark times, it is a metamorphosis, and I think it's time to always celebrate that, because coming out of it is a cause for celebration. And if you don't see that we're moving out of that, it's time to move away from all the negative stuff that you might be studying and looking at and focusing on and confirming the things that you see. It might be time to step away from almost all of that. Tune in to some of the things that you need to stay on top of, but for the most part, it doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve the collective, your family, the people who need to have you present, energetic, and bringing your gifts to the world. It doesn't serve if you stay stuck. So we need to release the worry, the hurt, and the fear of the things that didn't work out for us. Sometimes things don't work out. We need to give them grace. We need to release all of the emotions, especially those lower vibrational emotions. And we need to face this new, beautiful world with courage. And this is where we start vibrating at the consciousness level of 200, is courage. And all those energies and emotions that live below that are all of those. Worry, fear, shame, guilt, apathy, all of those live below the level of courage. So it's time to release it's time to release the worry, fear, and hurt, and the things that didn't work out for us. And then here's what I wrote. This is the time to release material stuff. Okay, I was sitting there, and this has been a big thing for me this last month, where I've really been purging physical things. And I do think part of this comes with a little bit with age, because it's like you reach a point where you go, okay, it's really nice to have all these things, but then you kind of go, okay, well, what am I going to do with them? What kind of a burden am I going to leave on my children when I'm ready to go, or the people who come after me, and I'm not talking about valuable things, or I'm not talking about things that are sentimental, that have meaning for you, but I'm talking about clearing out things that you can donate, you can repurpose, you may gift things to other people that are in need of excess things. If you are a person that has a storage unit, and I'm not talking about if you're in the middle of a move or you're storing things that are going to be in an estate sale or anything like that. I'm talking about things in a storage unit that you haven't looked at and have no idea what's there, and it's just stuff that you're storing. We, especially in the Western world here in America, things in storage units, to me, I think that's just ridiculous. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but the thing is if you have so much stuff that you can't put it in your house, it weighs on you. This is a heavy, heavy burden, and it might only be a lot more psychological or spiritual or emotional than you think, but it is literally enlightening, and you physically lighten your load when you get rid of physical stuff. So I wrote, this is the time to release material stuff. Sort it out. Donate, give, recycle. There's things that might need to be thrown away. There's maybe you have junk that it's too much for you to go through. It can be overwhelming. Get a trusted person. And I really didn't mean to kind of go off on a tangent about releasing material stuff, but I do think that this is incredibly important, to release the material things that just simply weigh us down. But find a friend, find a sibling, find your mom or your sister or your daughter or your son, or grab your spouse and say, let's go through this room. And I know when my husband is overwhelmed by some of the things I want to clean out and do, and I say, hey, let's do this together. And then he's, maybe let's do it next week or whatever. Then I'll go ahead and clean out an area. And then it motivates him to clean out an area. And if it doesn't motivate, then that's also okay too. I don't have any attachment to if I motivate someone else in my life to do the same thing I'm doing. So this is what this does, and this is what I wrote down after I wrote down about releasing material stuff. This is the alchemy of turning lead into gold. This is part of the magic of taking something lead and metaphorically turning it into gold. Like, this is where we have a chance to actually clear the clutter and shine. Don't leave God or Creator out of the process of coming or emerging out of the darkness. When we are emerging out of the darkness, don't leave our Creator out. Add that into the piece of coming into the light. You know, that can guide you through all of these things. It's time to get comfortable in the in-between time between the two worlds. So it's time to get comfortable. We have to live with one foot in the old world and one foot in the new, because we're not fully out of this darkness. Not everyone has emerged, and we can emerge as much as we want, but there's times when we have to literally keep one foot in the old world, the things that don't resonate with us, the things that seem to hold back our freedoms, our sovereignty, our everything that we know to be true as a human being, and the way we walk through the world. Sometimes in the systems, you know, maybe the medical system, the education system, definitely the government systems, these systems that are set up, they're working perfectly. They're actually working exactly how they were designed, but they're not designed or set up to help human beings be sovereign, be free, be self-responsible. They're set up to keep us stuck, but sometimes we have to operate in those old systems. So while the new world that we are creating, there's a lot of good happening, and we need to realize that. We need to still keep one foot in the old world, because it's how we function. And so it's not like, and some people might be able to go completely off grid and live their life with no technology, with, you know, growing their own food. And I say, if that is something that you can do and you want to do, more power to you. That can be such a beautiful way to walk through this world, if that is what is calling you. And it can be a nice way to really live congruent with maybe what you're feeling pulled to do. So there's no going back to the way things once were. And I think a lot of us know this. You know, I had a really deep conversation with one of my dear, dear friends during probably the first 6 months of 2020. And there was a bit of nostalgia and sadness, because he knew that things were never going to be the same. And I think we, as human beings, we long for certainty and comfort, and we like security. And there's nothing wrong with liking all of those things, and we want security, we want safety, we want certainty. But the thing is, you know, we kind of ruminated at that time on we were born in the best, we were alive and born in the best generation, because things seemed pretty dark during, especially those of us who really saw from the beginning of 2020 what we felt was really happening. And we saw it right from the beginning, and it was kind of like, oh my goodness, this, you know. And we've both come out the other side of this, emerged into the light with, wow, the world is going in such a beautiful place. And this is where I hope for you that you can do the same. So there's no going back to the way things once were. And what will be is not fully here. Okay, so let me say that again, because this came in kind of a little bit odd, and sometimes my handwriting is not that great. There's no going back to the way things once were, and what will be is not fully here. So we have to realize we are literally in between. We're in that in-between space, and how exciting is it? There's a delicate balance of giving gratitude to the past and feeling the awe of the future. Okay, so there's a delicate balance of just giving grace and gratitude to the past. And here's the thing we need to remember: we can't change the past, but we can reframe it. We can give it a different meaning. We can be grateful for the growth. We can be grateful for so many things, and then be in awe of the future. I think if we pay attention and we're aware, there are glimpses everywhere. And then we get to be a piece of being a part of the light that is coming in as we come out of this dark phase, More move out of darkness quietly, humbly, and here's what I love. Sometimes invisible to others. It's almost like when you set an example on how you want the world to look and how you want the world to be, you can be flashy and flamboyant about it, and you can be loud and energetic about it, and there might be a place for that sometimes. But what I've found works more congruently with my soul is to come out of it, is to come out of this with more wisdom and a more listening type of a spirit, because I want to be aware and there. I want to become a deeper listener, and I want to be a person who is not always trying to insert my opinion and insert my perspective and try to correct someone if they're saying a story that's not exactly right. I want to learn from what others are going through. And sometimes, most of the time, you can't learn that if you're always jumping in, So sometimes realize there's moments to be a listener, be stealthy, humbly, quiet. Go into this with maybe a little bit of a settling of your ego, which can be really beautiful. We need to learn to master the dance between the two worlds, because of this. This is a beautiful dance. Be the birther of new ideas and creativity. Be that person who is birthing new ideas. I have had such a creative first 4 months of this year. And because I had something really, 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 really hard and dark happen, these beautiful things, and I'm talking about these beautiful new products that were inspired, and when I get inspiration, I always act on them. But they would have never been born unless I had this dark period. So, be the birther of new ideas and creativity. If you've been feeling stressed or worried, take a moment and bring yourself back into alignment. So if we all have it, we can't expect life to be always full of excitement and full of all this, because you can't always stay there. And then things get dark, there's deep valleys, and you also don't have to stay there. When I say bring yourself back into alignment, I'm talking about bring yourself back to a feeling and a thought of homeostasis, of alignment with your soul. Bring yourself back to not that super high, not those super lows, but bring yourself back into the Tao, into the present, into the now. It doesn't always have to be full-on excitement. We're so used to that dopamine hit we get from our technology. I've had moments where I've not just been listening to a YouTube video, but then I'll turn on like a word search game on my phone while I'm listening to a YouTube, and then I kind of catch myself and I'm like, what am I doing? I have to constantly be entertained. It's like that dopamine button is always there, and we don't ever have to just sit with ourselves and be with ourselves and be in alignment with who we are. So if you've been feeling stressed or worried, take a moment and bring yourself back into alignment. If you feel yourself being pulled back into the darkness, keep fighting the good fight. That's the best that you can do. Do not give in. So this is what I wrote, and I actually wrote it out. Do not give in to the BS. The devil is a liar. Take from that what you will. Take a big, bold step and leave the beaten path. I've talked about this before, the beauty of being an outlier. Wherever the crowds are, wherever the crowds are going, I'm going to go the opposite way. I don't want to be in line for the newest iPhone. I don't want to wait around the block to get tickets to a concert that, I know that these are sometimes joyful experiences for some people, and I'm not trying to degrade those in any way. But what I'm talking about is be willing to take big, bold steps into the new world that is unknown. Because there's got to be explorers. And trust me, there are a lot of people that are not just taking big, bold steps, but they're taking big, bold actions. And this is where you want to be as well. So step out. It's time to step out of our comfort zone. It's time to sail into the uncharted territories. Respond now while the call is a gentle whisper. Oh, that actually just gave me the shivers, because think about it. Right now, there's a call. There's a call that's a gentle whisper. Be bold. Be courageous. Do something creative. Here's an idea. Here's an inspiration. Do this, do that. It's a gentle whisper. There will be a time in the not too distant future when it will be a big, it will not be a gentle whisper. It will be loud, and everyone will have to heed the call. And if you're like me, I want to be ahead of the curve. I want to be in a place of calmness and stillness so that I can be in a place maybe to help others when the call is much louder. So respond now while the call is a gentle whisper. Put yourself out there. I underlined that. Put yourself out there. See that? Put yourself out there. Shine your light. The world needs your light. Be grateful what you've learned, but see things for what they are. You know that it's almost like go, fly, fly, fly. There needs to be a little bit of staying tethered. It's like having your foot in one side, one new world, and you've got to stay grounded in the old world too, for now. Be grateful for what you've learned, but see things for the way they are. And then this is where I'll end this. We don't need to fear the revelations as they are unfolding. So I think as we come out of the dark, and you might have moments where you dip back in pretty hard, but as you come out of the dark, we need to realize, bring ourselves back into homeostasis, bring ourselves back into alignment. Keep your connection with our Creator. This is powerful, and there's always answers there, and they will bring peace. They'll bring so much peace to your heart. So I think as we crawl out of this cave of darkness, it's time to really start bringing your gifts while the call is a gentle whisper. Isn't that like such a beautiful, beautiful thing that came in right there? It's kind of like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And what I always think when I give these messages is, take what resonates for where you are. If there's something that's not really resonating with you, it might resonate with someone else. And these are the things that come into me during a week, and I think, wow, these these times are the most amazing times to be here and to be on an awakening journey with the collective that is humanity, because we are a beautiful, beautiful species of humans. We're beautiful, and I'd love to hear what you think about this. I think we all have these dark moments, and wow, I've had my share, and I do manage to pull myself back into alignment pretty quickly. And I actually managed to pull myself to a place where I'm not just crazy enthusiastic. I really do find myself being more balanced, which is really, really, it's a beautiful place to be. And becoming a deep listener has actually helped me be in more of a light place, because there's so much beauty around us that we get so busy we don't pay attention. And a lot of the beauty is in other human beings. When I was with my niece yesterday and we got done with our walk and we went into this little coffee shop, we had a little bit of lunch, and because it was rainy, really rainy, and we were kind of cold. We did have rain jackets, but we were still cold and a little bit wet. We sat there for a while we were waiting for our drinks and our food, and the place we were in was packed full. And we just kind of sat with each other without saying anything, and we just did a little bit of people watching. We just kind of watched the ebb and the flow of humanity, and the talking. The tables were all full of people, and the place where we were sitting was one big table with chairs on either side. So we sat across from each other, but there was two different people across from each other that were separate, but they were sitting right next to us. And there is an energy and there's a beauty in paying attention to the things that are around you. And I've talked to other people who love the idea and the just love to people watch and to feel and see the energy. And it was interesting because on one side of me, there was a little bit of drama being shared, some family drama. And on the other side, the woman that was next to me had a little baby on her lap, and her husband was across from her. And so there was a different energy. And but the whole coffee shop was loud, and the energy was good in there. And anyway, I think if we pay attention to the things that are beautiful, our life will look really different. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's always so good for my soul to come on and just share some of these thoughts with you. And I love reading your comments. But have a beautiful week ahead. We got May coming up on Wednesday, May 1st. And it's actually my 25-year anniversary on May 1st. So it's going to be a great week, and I hope you guys have the same. We'll see you next time.